What's going on, everybody? Welcome. This is Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio. And on today's episode, Andrew and I are talking about goal setting. Whether you're a school owner or not, whether you're a new student or an advanced student, we're going to talk about some stuff today that will help you move forward in your journey, whatever that journey looks like. So stick around. As often happens, I'm joined by Andrew Adams. Thank you for being here, Andrew, and for all the work that you do on the show. I'm Jeremy Lesniak, and I founded Whistlekick because I believe traditional martial arts makes us better. And if you want to see all the things that we are doing as a team to support you, the traditional martial artists of the world, to help you become better, to help the world grow through our mission to get everybody on the planet to train for at least 6 months, visit whistlekick.com. That's where you're going to see the references to all the things that we do. A lot of it's at whistlekick.com, like our store, like the sign up for Whistlekick Alliance. But there's also a lot of links out to other things that we do, like Martial Journal and our Patreon and whistlekickmartialartsradio.com, because everything we do for this show is so big that it needs its own website. Whistlekickmartialartsradio.com is the place to go for transcripts of every episode, as well as photos, videos, and links related to not only the topic episodes, but the guest episodes that we bring you just about every Monday. 99.9% of Mondays, we bring you a guest. And if you want really to get as much as possible out of those episodes, you should be checking out that website periodically. And if you want to support us, pretty much anything you can think of to do, whether it's supporting one of our projects, picking something up, or even sharing what we do with a martial arts friend would be appreciated. So Andrew, this was your idea. So I'm kind of going to let you preface this before we start digging in. Sure. Here we are, we're recording this. It's early January, and you want to talk about goal setting.
Yeah, so I had a thought about this. This time of year is often when people make, quote, New Year's resolutions. It's 2024 as of recording this, early January. New year, new you is like the common catchphrase I hear. Right. I myself don't prescribe to New Year's resolutions. I think if January 1st is a good enough day to start something, then why isn't December 5th? But regardless of that, of how I feel, a lot of people use this time of year to work at doing something. Usually it's bettering themselves, but it doesn't have to be.
It could be worsening yourself.
What's that?
It could be worsening yourself.
I mean, I suppose.
The same rules would apply.
Yeah, sure. But it got me to thinking about goal setting and the importance of it, in my opinion, of setting goals for yourself to get better. And this is a martial arts podcast, so clearly I'm thinking through the lens of martial arts, and how important I think that is.
Yeah, it's funny, when we look at the idea of goal setting versus New Year's resolutions. A New Year's resolution is really just a goal made at a certain time and starting towards that goal at a certain time. What is interesting to me, though, is how most people, regardless of whether we're talking about a martial arts resolution or not, seemingly stack the deck against themselves in every possible way. And we'll talk about what that looks like. But the very things that make a goal more likely to be attained are the same things that would make a New Year's resolution more likely to be perpetuated. And when 90% of New Year's resolutions are gone by February 1st, it tells us that people are not doing this in a productive way.
Correct. Yep. If you're, and I'm going to use an extreme example. January 1st, I said, I'm going to lose 300 pounds by February 1st. Well, first off, I'm not even 300 pounds. But the point is, that is a goal that is nowhere even close to being conceivable and achievable unless I were to, have surgery, for example, right?
Right. There is no healthy, sustainable way, and those are both two really important aspects of goal setting that would allow you to get there.
Yeah. So, I think you're correct. Most of these goals that people set for themselves are either A, not realistic at all, or it's realistic, but their time frame is wrong.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to lay out everything that the two of us know about setting goals that you can take and you can use for your school, for yourself, to support others, whatever makes sense. And this episode will live on, so you can revisit it in the future if you feel so inclined. So, Andrew, this being your topic, how do you want to start? Where should we dive in
So
first?
I think one of the most important things is to recognize how, and sometimes this takes a little bit of reflection for yourself on how you learn. And some people, not everyone, really need those check boxes to be able to complete, right? To have those little things that they complete. I
Mm.
am one of those people. And I first, believe it or not, I first found out that I was that way probably 15 years ago. And it's a kind of a funny, strange story, but I was playing a video game with my ex-wife. We were playing Donkey Kong Country, I think was the name of the game, on
Yep.
the Nintendo Wii.
Mm-hmm.
And within the game, you can, you complete the game by getting from point A to point B. But on the way, you can collect special letters to spell the word banana throughout the level. Getting from point A to point B is your goal, but if you can collect all the letters, you get extra points. And my ex-wife just wanted to get from point A to point B, and I'm like, no, I want to get all the letters. Like and we would complete the level, but I would go back on my own because I wanted to get all of those extra letters. And I realized that gave me something to look forward to, that I was excited about completing the task that was put in front of me, that I could take the quote easy way and just get to the end of the level. But I didn't want just that. I wanted to get all of those little extra pieces in the middle. And that was really interesting for me to recognize. And I didn't recognize it right away. It wasn't until now we transfer it to a martial arts setting. When I transferred to the school that I'm in now, I had a black belt, and we talked about this on the show. My instructor said, you've got a black belt, wear your black belt, no problem. But my brain was having a hard time retaining information because for my brain, there was no point in it. There was no goal. There was no test. There was nothing. My brain just said, what's the point of learning this if there isn't a rationale reason for it?
There wasn't a benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
There was effort going in without your perception of,
correct.
And I'm inserting that word because it's important.
Yep.
On the output. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we both recognize there is benefit to learning it, but my brain was like, there's no test, so why bother? Right. And that's when I said, you know what? I need this. I need a goal to work towards. And the goal doesn't have to be, I want to test next week, but just knowing that there is something down the road, that there will be a test, I tend to learn better, and my brain tends to retain information better.
And you're not alone. There are a couple points that I think are really important to make here. And the first one is that human beings are efficient. If you look at human interaction, human action, human evolution, everything through the lens of evolutionary biology, we have been rewarded for being efficient. That's another word for lazy. It's not quite the same in modern society.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, prior to modern society, human beings had to do a whole bunch of things to stay alive. And you would only have time to do enough of them to remain alive and sleep. If you 10,000 years ago, you probably weren't set up in such a way you were going to pioneer modern agriculture. You were too busy fending off whatever and scrounging for whatever to stay alive, right? And that's a gross oversimplification, but there's that piece of it. So that's baked into who we are. And then the other piece, and we talk about this all the time, is why.
Yep.
Even if you recognize, okay, this is a really good thing, if it's not important to you,
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't wrapped your head around the input, the time, the energy, the money, whatever it is, versus the output, if you don't see a huge imbalance in that equation, meaning the time, energy, and money, it doesn't even come close to what you would get out of it. If you can't see it that way, you're not going to do it. And that's what happens for most people when they set goals, whether, again, it's a New Year's resolution, whether it's around food, diet, bad habits, or whether it occurs within our training. I want to learn this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And another great example is how many people use lists to do things, right? Got to remember to do this, 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 and this. And that's useful because you can then visually look at what's there. But so many people, again, not all, but so many people, including myself, get a rush of endorphins when I get to say, you know what, I did this. I can cross it off my list. I'm done. And I actually went to my wife and said, hey, you keep telling me all of these things that need to get done, which is great. They all do need to get done. Can you make me a list? And she felt like, but I'm telling you what to do. It's like, no, I enjoy getting this stuff done because I like wiping it off the board. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the exact same thing. You get that rush of endorphins of finishing something. And so whether it's, you know what, I want to be comfortable with, Konkudai by the end of February, whatever. Like that, you have
for those that don't know, that's a karate form.
Yeah, or I want to learn this form by the end of February. That's a goal. That gives you something to work towards. You can quote cross it off your list. Hint: it's never crossed off your list completely. You can always work on it more, but my point still stands.
Well, learning it, you could cross off learning it.
Sure.
Right. And so that opens up a few things that I want to point out. And the first is, a lot of people set themselves up for failure with their goals by making too many goals at once.
Yep.
Come New Year's, I'm going to do this, 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 this. They envision their ideal life, whatever it is. Most New Year's resolutions seem to be around physical body, right? Tends to be around eating healthier, or I'm going to stop drinking or smoking, or I'm going to go to the gym, lose weight, whatever it is. And people make that really daunting. In order to have the body I want, I've got to do these 75 things that I've not done before. And December 31st, I actually go the exact opposite. If I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to smoke all the cigarettes that are left. Or if I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to eat all the junk food New Year's Eve, and really set ourselves up for failure. And this is something that I understand very well, because just like you, Andrew, I like checking off boxes. Andrew is one of two people that get access to my calendar, that you can see the task management system that I have, that I've built using a number of different things. I like checking off boxes, but all of the studies have shown that given a long list, we're going to tend towards the ones that we can check off the quickest, which are usually the ones that are the least important, because we get that rush of endorphins from doing so. And if my choices are to do the thing that takes 10 minutes and check the box, or the thing that takes 2 days and check the box, I'm going to tend towards the thing that does that I can check off quicker. Yeah. And so my recommendation, and this is something that has been very important for me in my role, is what is the most important thing? What is the one thing? In fact, there's a book out there called The One Thing, written by, I forget. It's a name that a lot of you would remember. When you're talking next, Andrew, I'll look it up. Or maybe you're looking it up now. I see your eyes have averted. Good, thank you. Because when we focus on a single thing, when we just dial in on it until it is done and part of us, it makes a big impact. And it frees us up from the distractions of everything else on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. The author, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan.
Okay.
The One Thing, the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results.
Yep. Now, for those of you who've been around a while, if you've checked out the one non-martial arts book that we've released, 12 Months to Health, it is based on this principle. Instead of it being, here are 12 things you're going to start doing tomorrow, it's, here's one very simple thing you're going to do for a month.
Yep.
until you've got it down. And then once you've got it down, then you move on to month 2 with the next very simple thing. Because that's what we can handle. We can handle one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If you come to MATIC trainings, we talk about making one correction with a student at a time. This is how our body is wired.
Yep.
There's a tremendous amount of efficiency loss when we try to go from one thing to two thing to 12 things. You're better off doing that one thing for a while and then doing the second thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that one thing you're doing has to be a little bit, in my opinion, should be a little bit outside your quote comfort zone, like something you're not already doing, obviously. And you gradually get there. You know, I've talked about, I've given, you know, lectures on within the drumming community on getting better and stepping outside of your comfort zone. And the reality is everyone has a comfort zone. Regardless of who they are, what they do for a living, everyone has a bubble that surrounds them where they're comfortable. For some people, that bubble might be bigger, but there is a bubble there. Mm-hmm. And so this lecture that I've given to classes is around, if you step a little bit outside your comfort zone, what does your body naturally do? It goes, this is, I don't know if I can handle this. And you go back to your comfort zone and your body starts to recognize, oh, you know what? I survived outside there. Okay, all right, let me try it again. And you step a little bit outside and your body's like, all right, that's not so bad. And then you can come back. Oh, you know what? That's all right. Now you can step out that little bit outside and you're okay. Yep. Well, your bubble just grew. If you are in your bubble and you run 25 feet outside of your comfort zone, your body and your brain cannot comprehend and recognize that it's going to be safe, and so it shuts down. Right. I liken that the same way to these goals. If your goal is 25 feet outside your comfort zone, you're never going to get there. But if it's just outside, then when you get there, you can then pick another one that's just outside. Right. And then you get there. And then just outside and get there. We've talked about 1% growth in your ability is a 365% growth over time. It's not really true mathematically because of exponentials. But the point is, a little bit of growth every day is better than trying to go big right away.
Yeah. Now, I know you know, and quite a bit of the audience knows about the protocol that I've developed that we call MDM, Mushin Development Method. It's the thing I do seminars on. I'll be giving a seminar at your space this weekend on this material. And as it's progressed, I've really dialed in the heart of not just this, but it actually applies to so many other things. Progress is a very simple formula. Simple, not easy, but simple. Mm-hmm. Safety and discomfort have to occur. They have to occur simultaneously in whatever it is you're trying to do. And you have to do that with some frequency and over a period of time. So safety plus discomfort over frequency and duration. Mm-hmm. So if we talk about, let's use the example of learning a form. Well, I have to learn that form in a way that feels safe, right? It's not being brought up in front of the room, in front of everyone else who knows the form and they're judging me and the instructor's teaching me. I'm not going to retain that. But it also needs to be a little bit uncomfortable, meaning I can't do this one move at a time and just do one move for the next 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to peter out. I'm going to get bored. Yeah. My brain is not going to receive the messaging that I want it to about progress and the frequency and duration. So if you want a really simple formula for those of you out there for learning a form, it's most forms are give or take 30 moves. Maybe it's 40 moves, maybe it's 25 moves, right? I think what's the long, there's one out there, it's like 60 something moves. There are a few forms out there that are really long. But what if your practice was, I'm going to spend 3 minutes a day and I'm going to add one move per day? You know, there's probably a video that you can follow. And if not, you can probably ask someone in your school, hey, can I record you doing this? Suggestion, have them do from the front and the back. so you can get both sides because you're going to need both sides. And if you can add one move per day, you will have that down very quickly.
Yep.
It feels like nothing at the beginning, and that's the point. It's mildly uncomfortable because you don't know it, but it's also safe because being able to learn one a day, yeah. And does it check the frequency and the duration? Well, I'm not asking you to do it once a day. I'm asking you to do it for a few minutes a day. And there's also the duration. You're doing it until it's done.
And you have the ability to make it more if you want to. You could say, you know what, it's 30 moves. I learned one move a day. I'll have it down in a month. Well, you know yourself. You know what?
Yeah.
I can handle 2 moves a day. Okay. You have the ability to come up with the formula that works for you. 2 moves a day, great. You learn it in 15 days. You know, maybe you can do 5 moves a day, whatever. But you have the ability to fix that goal for yourself. Does it make sense to say, you know what, I'm going to do 30 moves a day and I'm going to learn it in one day? Well, maybe. I don't know you. You might be able to do that. But this is where having that little bit of reflection on your own learning will help you set your goals. Maybe it's 3 moves a day. Maybe you're in the middle, whatever.
The bigger the chunk, right? The bigger the piece that you're trying to undertake, the bigger the stretch and the discomfort, because that's what we're talking about here in that equation, right? Comfort, or rather safety, discomfort, frequency, duration. The bigger the number that is the discomfort, the more likely it's going to fall apart. So if you go from 1 move to 3 moves a day, you're probably increasing the amount of time that you need to invest to learn them. And one of the things that we know about achieving goals is that habits become really, really important. Most of the goals that we are setting should be habits, right? When someone says, I want to lose weight, I want to eat better, what they really want to do is be healthier, and they want that to be part of their life, not just temporarily, but ongoing. And when we take too big of a chunk, it can really become problematic. And if we take the extreme example, it doesn't take long understanding the world of professional bodybuilding to realize that most of the people who look really good on stage actually do themselves a disservice over time. And they will talk about each show getting more and more difficult because their body is revolting against the actions that they're taking towards it. Slow and steady wins the race is an old cliche for a reason. There's a lot of wisdom in it. So when we take a look at setting a goal for your school or for yourself, you know, a lot of schools out there are going to set goals around, I want this number of students. Okay. Well, if you set that goal, I want 100 new students by the end of the year. Okay, great. How many is that per week? How many is that per day? Right? Maybe it's 2 a week. I'm going to bring in 2 students each and every week. That is a much more reasonable goal. Maybe it's 3 a week. Maybe it's per month, right? But whatever you do, the more you can break it down, the more you can find these small pieces, the easier it's going to be.
Well, I mean, because numbers are easy to work with. Say, I'm a school owner. I want to get 100 students by the end of the year. If I focus on the end of the year, my brain can do nothing for January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Oh, shoot, it's October, and I set this goal of 100 students. Now I've got to get 100 students in October, November, December. As opposed to, you know what? I'm going to focus on trying to get 2 students per week. 2 students per week is 104 students for the year, right? It's 52 weeks in a year. So my brain can comprehend and really work towards what can I do to get 2 students this week is much easier to manage than being able to put something off for a year and then, oh, shoot, cramming to get the goal, to reach your goal.
Right. And that example really starts to bring together a couple things. You talked about the psychological benefit that we receive in checking that box. When I bring in my 2 students this week, or whatever my goal is, right? When I bring in those 2 students, a couple things happen. 1, I feel good. That's nice. 2, I have correlated the good feeling with the effort. which makes it easier to maintain that effort as I move forward. We've all had projects that we've worked on, whatever it was, and it didn't go well. It's harder to maintain. But we've also had other things that we've done that were exciting and fun, and we were seeing success early on. It's a lot easier to keep going with that. This is the reason video games start easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you start playing a video game and it's super duper hard, no one continues. It gets harder over time, right? This is the psychology of the brain. This is what we're trying to hack, in a sense, to get you towards that successful goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what have we covered so far? Make the goal realistic and attainable and break it down into small pieces when possible.
Yep.
Focus on it as frequently as you can. Every day is a great place to go. I think really those are the two things that we've talked about thus far.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So here's the next one.
Recognizing how you learn. Like,
yeah. Yeah. To me, that's part of the making it realistic.
Yeah.
You know, if I said if I have 10 people in my school and I say I want 1,000 students by the end of the year, maybe not realistic. And when you set an unrealistic goal, you let yourself off the hook from accomplishing it. And I think that is, you know what, let's go here next. Goals should be clearly definable. They should be measurable, and they should have a deadline.
Yep.
If
absolutely.
I say, I'm going to get more students this year, that is not a goal. That's a hope. That's
I want
a wish.
To be better. I want to be better at this form. Okay, well, better is subjective.
Better in what way?
Yeah.
Better in what way? Does your school have some kind of objective scoring metric? If not, maybe you need to invent one for that purpose. Or maybe you need to compete. Or maybe that's not a good goal for you.
Yeah.
If you say, I want more students this year, how many more and by what time? Mm-hmm. Because if you can't measure it and it does not have a point at which you have not attained the goal, then it is not a goal.
Yeah.
And this is something a lot of people are resistant to. People will tell me, I want to do this. And for those of you that have forgotten or never knew, I consult with a number of martial arts schools, and they will tell me, I want to do this. Okay. How much or how many and by when? And oftentimes these people are resistant. Why? Because we know inherently that if we set a goal and it is measurable and has a deadline, then we might not attain it. And we feel badly when that happens.
Nobody wants to fail.
Nobody wants to fail.
And by setting goals that are unattainable, you can make excuses as to why you didn't meet your goal. Or if you make them subjective, you could then always fall back on, well, I think it is better. Yeah, I think it's better. I passed. I met my goal.
Another aspect to goal setting is getting support. Mm-hmm. Studies have shown that when you tell people about your goals, when you are constantly talking about them, you're talking about your progress, you're telling everyone around you, your friends, your family, your spouse, your children, they will ask questions. They'll ask you what's going on. They will keep you accountable. And that accountability is a huge
How are you doing
piece.
Towards getting that goal?
Yeah. Now, if you're not willing to talk about your goal, maybe it's for private reasons, right? Maybe there's something, around a goal that is private to you. You can still set that up. There are ways that you can do that. You can journal. You could have a notebook. I was reaching for a notebook and I ended up with a calendar as well. You could have a notebook and write in it every day, writing to yourself about your progress towards your goal. But you are telling someone, and that is important. Never underestimate the value of journaling, folks. But if you have the willingness, even if it's a discomfort, but willingness, safety, but discomfort, see, there it is again, to tell people around you what your goal is, it is much more likely to occur. I have told my students, we have a goal. It's a little bit different structure of a goal. In fact, I'm not even going to call it a goal. There is a trigger point that when we reach a certain number of students, I will add a second day of training. It's a small school. Once we reach 25 students. Now, if I put a time on that, if I said, but we have to do it by June 1st, now it's a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right. So that's a little bit I'm very aware it's not a goal, but I have other goals. And why do I not have that goal? Because I have other goals.
Sure.
Because right now my goals are all about Whistlekick Alliance. It's the thing I work on every morning because it is the most important thing in my professional life right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's my one thing.
Yeah.
What else should we talk about with goal setting?
I mean, I think we've hit most everything. Making them attainable.
Yep.
Recognizing what will work for you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So here's what I'd love to see. What are your goals? In fact, what is your goal? I want to ask it that way. What is your goal? And I would love for you to come over to Facebook and post it in the Martial Arts Radio page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Page.
Yep.
There's a Martial Arts Radio page. And when we post this episode, I would love for you to comment what your current goal is. And if you don't have a goal, I'd like to encourage you to have one. Come up with a goal, because if you don't have a goal for yourself, for your training, for your school, for some aspect of your life, you're not moving forward. And I think all of you on some level, even if it seems difficult, you want to move forward. So this is my encouragement. This is my push. And if you need some accountability, tell you what, you send me an email, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I will set up some emails to bug you, to hold you accountable to your goal. Hopefully everyone doesn't take advantage of that. Otherwise, I'll be very busy emailing. But heck, maybe we'll come up with a course or something if that's what people do.
Excellent. Yeah.
You got any goals you're working on?
I am working on learning a new form, which cool. I have given myself the goal by the end of February. Nice. It seems like such a long time, from now. We're recording this the beginning of January, but I don't get to train myself as often as others because I'm often teaching or helping teach and leading class. So I only have X number of classes to work with my instructor on getting these moves. So that's my goal.
Nice. It's a great one. Awesome. To those of you out there, thanks for watching or listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of your support. And remember, if you want to help us out, just take a moment. What could I do to help Whistlekick out? What could I do to help all the things that Jeremy and Andrew and the rest of the team are working on to make the world better? Because that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? It's the reason I have sunk everything into this company over the last decade, because I'm trying to make the world better. So I appreciate your help. If you want, you know what? I'll just stop talking there. I think that's enough. Until next time, train hard, smile, and have a great day.
High five.
Bow.